One of Ajahn Fuang's students once complained to him that she'd been meditating for many years and seemed to be doing the same thing over and over again. And he said, that's the whole point. He says, you're laying a foundation, and you want to make sure that the foundation is solid. Once the foundation is solid, then you can build a building of any number of stories, and it won't fall down. If your foundation is weak or unstable, then you can't build anything on it at all. And the higher you try to go, the bigger the crash when things come falling down. So keep to the basics, keep it simple. And when something new comes in meditation, watch it for a while. Learn to be patient. Don't think about how many days you have here ahead of you or how many years you've been meditating already. A lot of the important work comes from just sitting with the meditation for a long period of time and just watching. Don't be in too great of a hurry to squeeze it onto something else, because many times your idea of where it's supposed to go is based on ignorance, and so you're going to squeeze it off into a place you don't know, squeezing it through expectations that are ignorant, which is not a good way of going about it. You want to watch and watch again and watch again. An image Ajahn Lee likes to make is of going over a path again and again and again, back and forth, back and forth. And he says the more you go over the path, the more you see. Little things you missed the first couple of times you begin to pick up. As you go along, you get more familiar with the path. You learn to recognize what plants are growing on the side of the path, which ones are edible, which ones are not, which ones are medicine, which ones are food. The path gets worn smooth, and at the same time you get really familiar with everything around the path. That's the kind of meditation we're doing. So the breath comes in and the breath comes out, and it's not like you've never seen the breath before. But in one way you have to act as if that's just the case. You look at it with new eyes all the time. But you're going over the same territory again and again and again. Don't count the number of times you've done it. Just keep reminding yourself, if you haven't seen awakening yet, if you haven't seen the deathless light, you haven't seen everything there is to see right here. So you look again, and you look again. And you're willing to be patient. Heedfulness and ardency don't mean that you have to be in a rush. They mean that you do your work carefully. You have to be meticulous about it. And the mind has its seasons, just like plants have their seasons. Some things take a long time to grow and to ripen, other things ripen fast. And you can't choose which qualities in your mind are going to be the fast ones and which are the slow ones. All you have to do is keep looking after the mind, tending to it, watering it, giving it fertilizer. And if you treat it the right way, it'll grow, without you having to squeeze it or pull it to make it grow faster. You make it grow faster by tending to it properly. And there comes a point where you're putting too much water, too much fertilizer. Okay, you have to be sensitive to that too, otherwise your plant will die. And the only way you can get a sense of just right is by being very observant and going over the same territory again and again and again. So figure out ways to enjoy the process so it doesn't become tedious, so that it stays fresh. And then do it again and again and again. And someday as you're walking down the path, you'll stumble over something valuable. It's there. It's simply a matter of being meticulous and ardent and sensitive to what's going on. Some people are quicker than others, but that's not the issue. It's simply a matter of being very watchful and patient. Another analogy is of polishing wood. The grain is there in the wood, but you have to polish it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, before it begins to gleam. You don't create the grain. And if you try to draw a grain on the wood, it doesn't look right. It's simply the back and forth, back and forth, back and forth of the polishing that brings it out.